What's up everyone and welcome back to my channel. It is the end of February and I've decided to start ranking all of the new movies that I've watched throughout the entire month. Now January I did not do a video because I only watched 2, I think. That does not a rank list make, only 2. So this month I have 8, a good solid amount of movies to rank, and I'm going to continue to do so going forward throughout the year. Now I've ranked all of these and done a little review on my Letterboxd account, which you can find under Susan's Reviews, which is the old name of this channel. And then I also post on Twitter at Movies&Sue, just little thoughts. So I figure at the end of every month, I'll do my ranking of all the new releases, so that way you can get my real clear thoughts about where I stand on these movies. And plus a lot of them are for award season, so I'm going to binge them. I'm going to watch them. Now for the month of February, we have 8 to rank, so let's get started. I'm excited to talk about these with you. At the bottom for me, definitely, was Malcolm and Marie. Oh my gosh. Everyone was hyping this movie. It's so good. You have John David Washington and Zendaya. It's in black and white. They play this couple. Everyone was saying that this movie was something to talk about. I watched it, and let me tell you, this was nothing to talk about. I did not like this movie whatsoever. On my Letterboxd account, I gave it a 3-star, but after sitting on it for a little bit and thinking about it, I would change it to a 1-star. I honestly did not like this movie the more I thought about it. All it is fighting. All it is they play a couple that come home from a premiere of his new movie, and all they do is argue. They argue and they fight. And just when you think they're going to make up and they're being all nicey-nicey with each other, they start fighting again. And usually it's because she brings it up again. And I know women are notorious for bringing the fight along again and wanting to egg it on again and again. We really need to start breaking that stereotype because not every woman is like that. But I really hated that aspect of this movie. It's like, okay, if you're going to fight and be done and move on. Don't keep egging it on. I was exhausted by the end of watching this 2-hour fight fest. I was mentally drained. I almost had a headache, and I have no desire to watch this ever again. And what really bothers me is that they marketed this as a love story. And if this means love, get me out of it. I never want to have it. That is not the definition of love. That is the epitome of a messed up relationship. So Malcolm and Marie, you are the big loser for the month of February. I never want to watch you again. Moving up to number 7. This one is not much better, but it is a smidge better than Malcolm and Marie, pretty much based on one performance, and that is Rosamund Pike. I Care a Lot. Now, I just watched this movie on Netflix. Rosamund Pike is nominated for a Golden Globe. That was kind of the reasoning for me watching this. I hated the premise of this movie. The entire premise of this movie is about taking advantage of old people and robbing them for everything that they have and leaving them with nothing and shoving them into a retirement home. And then halfway through the movie, you want us to sympathize with Rosamund Pike's character, who is the devil in my eyes. She is very evil at what she does. You want us to turn around and feel sorry for her, that karma is pretty much coming back at her. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can't sympathize with this character that is so mean and evil and has no feelings whatsoever. I can see how Rosamund Pike is nominated for this. It's a very devious role and very outside the box for her own personality, I would hope. But other than that, there's no redeeming qualities about this film. I don't want to watch it again. I don't want to see old people being taken advantage of. So I'm a one and done with this one. I've seen it. I'm good. I can move on. Moving into number 6, we have, let me look. Oh yes, Tom and Jerry. I watched this last night, and pretty much the only reason why it's number 6 on my list is because all of the other movies ahead of this were just that fantastic. I couldn't put them below Tom and Jerry, if you know what I mean. So that's why Tom and Jerry is at number 6. If there were other movies that were in the pile, Tom and Jerry would have been higher. I know a lot of people are really dogging Tom and Jerry, but I enjoyed it. Am I crazy? I enjoyed it. I had fun. You know, it's not serious. Just lay back, relax, enjoy the movie, have some laughs, and have a good time. It's not meant to be taken so seriously where we have to analyze every single aspect of it. I didn't get that at all. It's animation, guys. You're just supposed to have fun with it. Just have fun. Why criticize characters for being scoundrels? It's a kid's movie. Lighten up about it. I was laughing. Extremely nostalgic for me. I grew up watching Tom and Jerry. And does it have problems? Of course it does. But it was fun. It was a fun movie. You're letting loose. And it's definitely worth streaming on HBO Max. I wouldn't go to pay it in the theater, but because I got to see it at home, I enjoyed myself. I watched this with my parents. We were all laughing and we all had a good time with it. So watch Tom and Jerry if you have HBO Max. I do recommend it. Okay, moving into the number 5. I watched this one as well last night. The United States versus Billie Holiday. I've always said I love a movie that can drop some knowledge on my brain that I had no idea about before. This movie definitely did that. Number 1, it gave me insight into Billie Holiday herself. I had no idea that she had a drug abuse problem. I had no idea about her past and her bad relationships that she was having in her marriages. And then you have the aspect of the government pretty much trying to silence her because she's singing her song about lynching and no one wants her to be singing about it. And so they're trying to pin crimes on her to shut her up. This is a riveting story, and I love that it gave me some background and education because have I heard of Billie Holiday? Yes, I have, but I didn't know the aspects around her and her circumstances and what was going on. So I totally appreciate that. Plus, Andra Day is nominated for the Golden Globe, also SAG, I believe, right? SAG or Critics' Choice, I can't remember. But she is nominated this award season. So that was very important, and she definitely deserves a nomination. Her performance was raw and very extremely courageous. So I give her kudo points for pulling off a fantastic performance. In the number 4 spot, I'm going with Judas and the Black Messiah, pretty much because of Daniel Kaluuya's massive, powerful performance as Fred Hampton. Again, a situation where it's dropping knowledge on my brain based on true events. I had no idea what this movie was about. I went in blind watching it, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. The circumstances, to me, are so outlandish. I can't even believe that they got away with doing what they did to him. I don't want to spoil anything, but I think you know by now. It's a long movie, and it kind of stretches a little bit to get you there, but the performances by Kaluuya and then Lakeith Stanfield, I feel like he's being overlooked because Daniel Kaluuya's performance is so massive, but Lakeith Stanfield also gives a fantastic performance. If you want to go to movies based on performances, definitely watch this one. It is still on HBO Max. If you guys want to check it out, I highly recommend it. In my number 3 spot, I am going with Never, Sometimes, what is it? Oh my God, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Oh, I almost got it right. Now, this isn't a new release this past month, but it was new to me. And I figure it was new enough to put it into my ranking. Now, this is a very simple story. It is about a girl. She's 17. She's pregnant. She doesn't want the baby. And she goes to New York. She brings her, I think, best friend or cousin with her to get an abortion. And that's pretty much what the entire movie is about. You're not really getting a lot of backstory on her, which I found kind of interesting that they didn't dive into. You know that she's not from the best home. Her dad or stepdad, he's a real jerk to her, and circumstances around her. She works in this place where they're kissing her hand. I don't know. It's goddamn weird, but I connected with the story on a level because I am an adopted child. And if my birth mother chose the opposite route like she did, I would not be here. So to see that journey through that teenager's eyes and what she is going through and everything that she's thinking and feeling was interesting to me. And I got to see the other side, and it kind of changed my mind of where I stand when it comes to that topic. I've always been for, well, the woman has the right to choose, but I don't know. That movie kind of had me second guessing in my thoughts a little bit. So when a movie can do that, that means it's powerful, and that meant something to me, and I connected with it on a certain level. So that's why it's so high in my ranking. This is what movies are for. When they can make you think about something that you thought you were 100% concrete about, but then it can potentially change your mind. That's a good movie. In the runner-up spot, I think you guys are going to be surprised. It's Nomadland. It is Nomad. Nomadland is not my number one. It is my number two. Now, that's only because the number one and the number two spot were so tight, neck and neck. They are both award contenders, but I had to go with Nomadland in the second spot because I connected more with the first one. Now, Nomadland is the story of Fern, played by Frances McDormand, and she plays a nomad. She lives in her van. She lost her husband, lost her house, lost her job, and so now she's living in a van, traveling from place to place, working temporary jobs. And I just thought it was absolutely beautifully shot and astounding. Frances McDormand's acting was not acting. It was like breathing. It was like she was just existing. And I thought that was brilliant. And what was brilliant is that they used actual nomads in the film. They didn't hire actors or extras to portray these people. They encountered the real life people and just incorporated them into the film. Chloe Zhao with this directing, I highly think she's going to win. The shots are fantastic. My favorite shot in the movie is when Frances McDormand is walking across a field and the sky is a beautiful pink across. I love that shot. Cinematography in this movie is absolutely fantastic. And it just gives you a different look at another person's life and how they're living, and it opens up your eyes. So that is why this movie is so high on my list, but it is not my number one. My number one movie is Sound of Metal. Sound of Metal, you can watch it on Amazon Prime. It is an awards contender starring Riz Ahmed. He plays a drummer in a band that all of a sudden, like this, starts losing his hearing, and he pretty much completely loses his hearing. He can hear just a tiny little bit, and it's such a flip in his lifestyle. He's grasping onto anything. He has the hopes for the cochlear implants, which he does eventually get, and I bonded with this movie because my father has cochlear implants. My father, before getting them, was almost completely deaf. He wore hearing aids, and so I connected with this film because I've lived with this my entire life with my father. So seeing this put onto a screen for a movie, I just thought was absolutely fantastic. And Riz Ahmed's performance is astounding. It's worthy of getting recognized. He's a real awards contender with Chadwick. I'm torn between the two of them, but I'm going with Chadwick Boseman for right now for winning everything. But Riz Ahmed could surprise us in the end. If you guys have not seen Sound of Metal, ooh, you really have to. It is a wonderful film. So those are my new released February movies of 2021 ranked. What do you think? I want to know what your top movies are for the month. Let me know down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.